Hello, my name is Shrikant. I am from North Carolina State University. In this presentation, I am going to talk to you about our work, Early Lifecycle Software Defect Prediction. I would like to thank my co-authors, Suvadeep and Professor Tim Menzies. For decades, software engineering researchers have been looking at ways to predict quality of the software before it is used. A standard approach in this space is to build models based on large volumes of historical data. For example, in case of a GitHub project, to classify commits in the current release, one would build machine learning models based on all the past commits that are labeled either as defective or clean. Many researchers assume that for software analytics, more data is better. We show in this work, at least for defect prediction, this may not be true. Norwig's claim is supported with numerous examples from vision research. While we agree with the y-axis that solution quality could attain a saturation point beyond a certain amount of data, we question the amount on the x-axis. We looked at software engineering literature about sampling policies in defect prediction published in the past decade. We note a remarkably diverse number of sampling policies in the literature that have not been systematically and comparatively evaluated. Not only are researchers hungry for data, but they are also most hungry for the most recent data. We will detail each of these representative sampling policies in the following slides. To assess those sampling policies, we mined numerous popular GitHub projects that are being developed for widely used applications. These projects are non-trivial engineering projects written in widely used programming languages. Those projects are long-running and 20% of their commits on average are defective, and they churn over 3,000 commits. But before we could assess the sampling policies, we wanted to visualize the commits across all the projects we mined, essentially to point to the information-rich region. We observed that most of the defects from those projects occur much earlier. So the takeaway from this slide is that be it software engineering or mining for gold, it matters where we investigate. Otherwise, our conclusions could be premising on thin ice. Humans learn from experience, and software projects offer experience. Most of the experience occurs early in the project lifecycle, yet developers and researchers make a systematic error. They continue to reason across the lifecycle or from a shallow end of a recent region, which is a problem since there is relatively less experience. This problem can be avoided by learning from experience-rich regions that offer numerous benefits. This explains why many practitioner beliefs on defect prediction tended to decay as the projects progressed. There are some of the data-hungry defect prediction methods where one builds a machine learning model using all past software commits or from recent 3 to 6 months of software commits, or just chosen from the recent release. Over the years, we've bold the assumption that if data is useful, then even more data is much more useful. If most of the defects occur very early in the life cycle, then models learned from the first few months of data should perform just as well as any other data-hungry sampling policy. Using that result, we introduce a new sampling technique called E that samples 50 commits from the first 4 months of the project lifecycle, and to avoid class imbalance problems, equal number of clean and defective commits are chosen. We explored two issues for defect prediction. Is more data better? When is more recent data better than older data? In other words, is there one best sampling policy to build defect predictors? To answer the two research questions, this study compares 5 sampling policies using 6 classifiers in numerous open source projects. We use 7 performance measures to gauge each sampling policy. As mentioned earlier, all our data comes from open source GitHub projects. We used Commit Guru to mine the process metrics and defect information from these projects. But data from Commit Guru does not contain release information, which we extract separately from the project tags using GitHub APIs. To compare sampling policies, we run all pairs experiments in 5 steps. Each step is a defect prediction model built using one of the 6 classifiers using data sampled from one of the 5 policies discussed earlier. Then we use that model to test on all future releases. Then we gauge using 6 performance measures, and those distributions of those test release scores is analyzed statistically using the Scott-Knott test. Whenever a project has a new release, it means that more data, that is commits, is accumulated. Thus, one needs to retrain their machine learning models if they are using data-hungry sampling policies. On the other hand, stop early policy E uses a fixed number of 50 commits that would imply the model need not be retrained, which is a huge benefit that enables practitioners to offer stable conclusions across the software lifecycle. This table shows results of 24 defect prediction models tested in all project releases. No policy and learner pair wins 7 out of 7 times on all performance criteria. But we can say it is useful to apply CFS and logistic regression. To answer this question, is more data better? Our data hungriest sampling policy all that basically ingests all commits from the past loses on most criteria. E that uses 25 defective and 25 clean commits selected at random from the first 4 months of the project lifecycle is competitive with the rest of the sampling policies. When is more recent data better than older data? This table shows results of 12 defect prediction models tested in all project releases. If recent data is comparatively more informative than older data, then defect predictors built on recent data, that is RR, should outperform predictors built on much older data, that is E. However, we see that E and RR seems to perform almost the same. So we conclude that recency-based methods perform no better than the results from early lifecycle predictors. To reiterate, many researchers assume that for software analytics more data is better. At least for defect predictors, this may not be true. Issues with conclusion instability disappear if early in the life cycle we can learn a predictive model that is effective for rest of the project. In summary, before assuming complexity, it is prudent to check the raw data, looking for shortcuts that can simplify the analysis. We hope these results inspire other researchers to adopt a simplicity-first approach to their work. Thank you for watching my presentation.